Welcome to another episode of the Blemished Beauty Podcast. This podcast was designed with you in mind. If you're ready to erase the norm and embrace the truth, come pull up a chair, grab a journal, and tell a friend that your favorite Jersey girl is back with another episode. So let's get into it.
Hey y'all. Well, here we are. We have reached the first episode of season 3. It was only fitting to title this episode Behind the Mask because I'm sure many of you have wondered why this podcast is called The Blemished Beauty. For those of you who know me personally, you know I've always been down to take a selfie. And that's because when I was younger, I always wanted to do modeling and fashion shows. This love was given to me by my stepmother, and she would always organize a cotillion or a fashion show. And I was so in awe of watching women go from these plain Janes to these beauty queens. It wasn't until 2017 that I actually achieved this dream. So I know she definitely would have been proud. So shout out to her, Miss Justine. And I pray her soul continues to rest in peace. A lot of people who look at models or beauty queens, they focus so much on the outward appearance. Just like I was in awe as this little girl, a lot of what you don't see is the fact that these beautiful women who we idolize and most mimic not only wear makeup to cover the blemishes physically, but their smile covers up a lot of the inner blemishes as well. So let's define the word blemish. A blemish is usually considered a small mark that can be known to spoil the appearance of something. The goal in covering this up is to give the appearance that this person or thing is aesthetically perfect. Even children are placed in these competitions and struggle with pretending to be perfect. Can you imagine the amount of pressure a person must be under, especially when they are dealing with things already internally? Usually, when you hear the word blemish or blemishes, you think of things like acne and hyperpigmentation, a birthmark, or even a cold sore. But blemishes nowadays, especially internally, can be those mommy daddy issues, can be those insecurities of abandonment or rejection. If we took a moment to self reflect, there is at least one thing we struggle with that we are afraid to admit because it makes us vulnerable. And some of us have covered these blemishes for so long, it's become a part of who we are. And most of the time, it doesn't show up until things happen to trigger us. So, in a way, we are all beauty queens and kings. Whether you are a male or a female, this podcast was truly designed with you in mind, just like my intro says. But now it's time to remove those blemishes, one mark at a time. It's time to become just as beautiful on the inside so it matches the beauty on the outside. It's finally time to tap into the best version of yourself. So now we must answer the question, why are you hiding? For me, I can personally say that I've struggled with the fear of authenticity, and being authentic requires courage, and most of us fear being judged. Whether it's how we look or how we think, being judged usually stems from childhood. If we go back to our school days, you can immediately go back to a time where you or someone you knew were teased in class or during recess or even after school. Usually in school, we were teased because of our weight, some because of our hygiene, and others because of our appearance. And that is something that most of us carry with us into adulthood. As you get older, judgment is now in the form of your financial status or your relationship status, and still even your appearance. You can't scroll through your timeline without seeing someone either taking a trip, posting their spouse, or having a good looking body. It's really hard to embrace your authentic self when you don't see anyone that looks like you winning on social media. So, how do we embrace authenticity? One, we must strive to be ourselves as opposed to being popular. You'll be surprised how many people appreciate your uniqueness. A lot of us feel like doing what everyone else is doing is the move, but the world has enough carbon copies. It's time to move to the beat of your own drum. Aim to know how you feel inside. Your voice matters. So speak up. Always trust your gut because in most cases, it won't steer you wrong. And God has given us a lot of useful tools. And the closer you get to Him, the more you will learn about them. Three, don't automatically do what others tell you or expect you to do. People pleasing does not get you anywhere good. You will end up suffering great consequences from the decision you made to please these people while they are at home losing no sleep and barely affected by you. Number four, stand by what you believe in. Live in accordance with your values and your beliefs. As you're trusting your gut, you must believe in your values. Never allow people, places, or things to change who you are because the minute you change, you allow the wrong things to attach themselves to you. So, how do we practice ways to enhance our authenticity? I believe you must do what you love, even if it's weird. Find all the things that make your heart sing and go after them. It might be a little bit scary at first, but who cares? Don't let another person's opinion stop you from doing what makes you happy. For me, podcasting was something that I always wanted to do. And because I'm an introvert, like I said in previous episodes, this was totally out my norm, totally out the box, but I'm happy that I took the step to move forward to do it. Another thing you can do is let go of the past, and this one is easier said than done. It's one of the hardest things to do, but it's very important. Living in the past keeps us stuck and makes it impossible for us to find our voice because we're too caught up on what has already happened instead of living fully in this moment right now. You have to let go. Letting go means that you allow yourself to move forward even though you might feel scared or uncertain. It's a process, but it's worth it in the end. You can also connect with your inner child. Your inner child is the part of you that is playful and creative and full of life. Connecting with him or her will help you find your voice because he or she knows exactly what it feels like to be authentically themselves without judgment. Spend time doing the things that make you happy and Let yourself be free. There's no need for rules or restrictions when you're hanging out with your inner child. So for me, I like to color and I like to play video games with my son. And when I do that, I can actually feel myself feeling lighter. And I don't have any of the cares of the world on my shoulder or even in my mind at the time because I'm too busy having fun. You also need to find your tribe. We all need people in our lives that understand and support us, and these people will be your tribe. Find people who accept you for who you are and be there for you as well. The more connected we are to others, the easier it becomes to find our voice. And this is something that is so true because I feel like now that I've entered this new season in my life and I'm podcasting and I'm meeting and networking and connecting with all these amazing people who you might meet some of them in future episodes. I feel like I finally found my community. I finally found my tribe. I finally found people who get me, who see me, who believe in me, and most of all, support me. And that is the best feeling of all. You also have to get out your comfort zone. If you want to find your voice, you need to get out of your comfort zone. And this means trying new things, meeting new people, and expanding your horizon. Just like I stated in the previous point, the podcasting was definitely me stepping out of my comfort zone. And now I definitely feel like with this season, I have found my voice and I am so appreciative of this moment. You must also embrace vulnerability. And being vulnerable means that you are open and exposed. And this could be a scary thing, but it also allows us to connect with others in a deeper way and experience life more fully. You have to also let go of unrealistic expectations. And expectations are so much more powerful than they seem. If we have high expectations for ourselves, it is impossible to find our voice because when things don't live up to these standards, then we beat ourselves up instead of just trying again. Let go of unrealistic expectations and replace them with realistic ones, small wins. When you achieve the small wins each and every day, find something that you've accomplished and be proud about it. Celebrate it. Express your feelings. When we bottle up emotions, we only make it harder for ourselves to find our voice. And this is something that I struggled with immensely. I don't like confrontation, but I've noticed that when you are the type of person who does not express yourself, not only is that harmful to the situation or relationship because the person is not a mind reader and doesn't know, it also can cause health issues with you later on because you've bottled up everything, and mentally and physically, things start to happen when you could have just released everything that you needed to say. Lastly, I want you to let yourself be free. Take off the mask and just be yourself with no apologies attached. Don't worry so much about whether things are perfect or if people will judge you. Just be yourself and don't let anyone else define who you are. Let me tell you, you are free to be anything you want. So take the time to figure out what makes you happy. And I want you to go for it fully without an apology. So, really quickly, I want to tell you a story. And I remember the exact moment when I realized I was wearing a mask. I saw a picture that I took and I didn't recognize myself anymore. But I shrugged it off because I'm always my worst critic. So I didn't pay it any mind. But it wasn't until I had a conversation with my oldest son. And we were sitting down and he looked at me and he had this concerned look in his eyes. And he said, "Ma, you good?" Now, this is my oldest, who is 15. And of course, when he asked me this question, what did I say? I said yes. And I told him I was fine. And how many times have we told people that we were fine, knowing good and well we were lying? When I replied and said I was fine, he came back with a follow-up question and said, "Are you sure? Because you're not the same person you were before." And then he went on and said that I used to have this glow and I used to be very happy and this bubbly person. But now he was seeing me sad and tired all the time. And I was just a shell of myself. And that's when I knew that the mask had to come off. That was the moment I knew not only was I not fooling myself, but I was no longer fooling anyone else. So it was time to match the inside with the outside. There is a saying, you guys, that say fake it until you make it, but I'm advising you not to do that because faking that you're okay is not helping anyone, especially not you. And you'd be surprised how much support you would really receive the moment you decided to be honest about your mental health. Make the choice today to embrace your authenticity and start implementing the practices that we discussed earlier. There are some people that are meant to attach themselves to you, that are waiting for you to reach where it is that God is trying to take you. I wish you good luck on your journey. And always remember, you are graced and gifted for a time such as this. You have purpose in this world, and you have been created to do great and amazing things. Until next time, bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget to leave a review. You can follow Shira on all major platforms and on YouTube at Shira Renee 510. Until next time, spread love, show grace, and shine bright.